Awesome. Um, Hello and welcome to everyone. I can see bunch of people starting to join in the room. Want to give everyone a couple more minutes before we formally kick off. We've done a number of these customer spotlights, and it's always amazing to have an opportunity to just have a discussion with leaders in the renewable industry who are using Scoop as their central operations hub. Um, so we try to take this as a time to have some great discussion, some good back and forth, learn some best practices and some tips and tricks. And importantly, always include the crowd favorite of seeing different Scoop accounts in action and how different implementation leads are building out their systems and using it to manage their operations. I'm Remington Jarvis. This is my first time co-hosting, and I cannot think of a better partner than Mike Sullivan over here at NEC. Mike and I have had the privilege of working together for about 14 months now, and it is always a joy working with such a strong operational lead. And Mike, I can see, you work tirelessly day in and day out to just build and improve the processes over there at NEC. So hi, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jeremy, thanks for having me on today. Real
Yeah,
pleasure.
of course. We're all about efficiency over here at Scoop. So really try to start all of our meetings on time and make sure we stay within the hour. I'm going to kick it off. I want to start with a big shout out to Lucy on our marketing team. I know she has worked tirelessly and late nights over the past month to organize this event, coordinate my schedule and Mike's schedule, and just have this happen. So, Lucy, massive thank you to you. Next person I really want to thank is Mike. You're taking time out of your day to sit down and contribute to the wider solar and renewables community, share best practices and share about NEC and what you guys are doing. I think that is so cool. And again, just a testament to this community as a whole, where everyone's willing to come together and continue to improve and help each other improve. Lastly, I want to thank all of our guests. I can see a big group of existing customers joining the room and also some new names. So, really want to just thank all of you taking the time out of your day to join the discussion and learn. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'll be giving a quick 5-minute introduction to Scoop, who we are, the technologies we offer, and the customers we work with. And then we'll get to the real reason you're all here, learning from Mike Sullivan at NEC and his collective team experience. We will give a overview of NEC Solar, have a casual discussion with Mike about some of the key challenges they were experiencing and how they've gone about tackling those and solving them through process transformation. And I highly encourage you all to stick around for the back half. Mike will be walking us through his Scoop Central Operations Hub, show us examples of how he's used it to accomplish the changes needed in his business, and his advice to others who are on the same journey. Last but not least, we will try and open the floor to some questions. So please send these in as early and often as possible. We want to focus this conversation around what is important to all of you. And we're comfortable pivoting as we go, and we'll try to set aside some time at the end to tackle those. You've heard me mention a couple of times now this concept of a central operations hub, and that is really who we are at Scoop and the role we play. This grew out of, and this concept grew out of years of experience working with solar contractors and eventually more renewable energy and infrastructure companies. And what we found is they have a lot of tools. They need a lot of tools to complete their jobs. But these tools don't always talk succinctly and send information back and forth properly. And this creates gaps and disconnects. So we at Scoop come in and help configure and build a central operations hub using our core technologies. This allows customers to manage their installs all the way from sales to closeout and even subsequent service visits. It helps them manage the relationship not only between their internal teams and the way they're talking, but also partners and subcontractors, these other companies in the sphere that you need to work with, but you often have a hard time communicating and sending data back and forth with. So the Central Operations Hub is there for that. Massively important, connecting field teams and office teams and alleviating the tension that often grows there. And finally, helping data find its way between the best in breed tools. You need to use them, and we want to make sure that all of that data is succinct and updated properly. So, who we are and who do we work with? We have right now, Scoop is being used on 250,000, almost over 250,000 physical job sites worldwide. It's 10 different countries last time we took a look. Uh, on average, there's 135,000 individual work orders being executed every single month. When we work with a customer and we're able to really build this great central operations hub, they're able to scale and pick up more business and work more. And therefore, this number goes up every single month as well. Our customers on the spectrum range from small 5-10 person shops who are just starting out, looking at growth in the future and really trying to make sure that they have the right tools in place and the right processes in place for that growth, and all the way across the spectrum to massive, international utility and infrastructure and service companies that have hundreds and hundreds of techs on the ground on a daily basis, using Scoop to complete their work, syncing that all back to a headquarters that's coordinating all this. So I think the best way to, and always important when we start describing a central operations hub, is to look at what happens before. Why did we do this, and where are our customers when they approach us? So when we start having a conversation with a new customer, this diagram really represents a lot of what we see. As they start to grow, we see these squiggly lines form. And these squiggly lines are loose connections between teams and tools. So these are your internal teams, your office teams, your field teams, your design teams, the partners that you need to work with, and the subcontractors that you work with, and missed connection, missed data points, missed handoffs. And then also the tools that they use. You may choose a certain tech stack in your own business, and then you partner with another company that's using different technology and they don't talk nicely. So this all leads to mistakes. It leads to on-site teams not being able to move forward with projects because they don't have the information they need or the supplies they need on site. It leads to repeat site visits because things were missed or done incorrectly at additional cost. Overall, a poor product and poor service for your customer. And that all builds into a poor culture and a struggling culture between your teams and the relationships you have with these outside vendors that you rely on to run your business. So common when we start talking to companies and we say, awesome, how do you currently manage your projects and manage this growth? And they say, we rely on the memory of a small group of overcapacity people, right? These original leaders in the business who are firing at 120%, trying to keep things together, remembering where certain crews need to be on certain days, what was missed on a job site that they need to go back to. It's all in someone's head, and it makes them scared to scale. They say, if this is what's happening at 20 or 30 projects a month, what's going to happen at 50 projects a month? So the way we solve this is our central operations hub, bringing it all into an orchestrated system that connects all the tools and people around your business into one place. And not just a single view. The goal isn't to create a data lake that everyone can come in and just see, thousands and thousands of data points, but rather bespoke views depending on who is doing what task. So a site surveyor, when they go on site, they don't need every single last piece of information. They need a subset of that information to do the job they need to do and to upload their work and execute on it. And likewise, a designer needs to look at a different subset of that information. So this really helps each user focus on the task at hand, quickly execute it, and hand it off. And during that handoff, automations to notify and track what's being completed and how the project's going. All of that fits within a central operations hub and allows it to flow seamlessly. This is all powered by three different technologies over here at Scoop. On the far left, we have our flagship platform, the desktop and mobile application that users are coming in and getting those bespoke views to do their work. But it's not just those execution modes that we work on. It's also managing these workflows and automations. And that's why I'm so happy to have Mike online right now because he is such an expert in that management and tweaking of it. And I'm excited to see how he's going to share about it. Um, we have a ton of best practice templates that we've built from our years in the industry, just kind of taking the community of knowledge of what works and what doesn't work and building it in as a template to start with. But we have to take it further. So Scoop was designed as no code architecture. As we onboard customers and work with our customers, we want to teach and train this core group of leaders at each company. We call it a Scoop Team 6 to become amazing at adjusting their workflows on the fly as needed. Businesses change, the needs in the business change, the industry changes, the products you work with change. And you need to be able to adjust and not just kind of like buy one tool, set it and forget it, and then get stuck. This also really cool lets you take advantage of good ideas. So as team members provide feedback and say, hey, I think we can save, 10 minutes or half an hour on each job if we did things this way compared to this way, you're able to adjust on the fly, take advantage, and then push that to all the rest of your projects. The other two products that make up this trio are Glue and Looksy. Glue is what we use to help connect all of your tools in the background. Again, wickedly excited to talk to Mike because he's actually going to be able to show us a bit about Glue and how he's using that right now. You need a CRM. You need a design tool. You need an accounting tool. Scoop does not aim to do it all, but we aim to partner with the best in breed in the industry. And all of these need to be updated and play in concert to make sure they're looking at the right data. Glue reduces the data duplication. It reduces that need to remember to go and update a different system because something happened. It's just talking to these things throughout the day. Every time something happens, updating and making sure everything's looking at the same. Lastly, we have Looksy. It ingests all the data from these systems and thousands of data points from Scoop itself as the users are in the field uploading photos, moving workflows ahead. And it allows you to build reports and insights that are massively important to the business. Find those inefficiencies, make tweaks, find where you're making your money and what's costing you more, and really just kind of continue to dial in and tune your business by having accurate, structured data. So that was high level. I hope we're all on the same page now. And if anyone wandered in off the street for this webinar, gives you enough context to understand a bit about what we're talking about. But today is about NEC and about Mike Sullivan. We're all waiting, so please allow me to formally introduce him and the business. NEC basically does it all. Founded in 2008, you're doing solar, EV, battery, operations and maintenance, and all with a fairly small team of 55 people. So I know this is a massively tall order, and I can't emphasize it enough about how you are making this happen as the director of operations over there. And before I take my big breath and hand it over to you for a conversation, I want to show something off. This is what you accomplish as are the leader of Scoop and managing the central operations hub at NEC. You're managing over 800 physical job sites. You have over 300 or almost 300 projects executed successfully. 1,300 workflows running through the central operations hub seamlessly, handing tasks off, sending tasks to certain people, notifying customers of what they need, and 150,000 individual checklist items, documents, photos, and all that contributed to this database. So this is a credit to you, my friend. Welcome on board. Thank you for letting me talk a little bit. It's just so exciting to have you.
Yes, thank you, Remington, for the awesome intro. Like you said, Mike Sullivan, I'm the Director of Operations over here at NEC Electric and Solar. Our company, the umbrella company, if you will, is Newport Electric Construction. We're based out of Bristol, Rhode Island. If anyone's familiar with the area, I'm sure you've seen Newport, Rhode Island, and the famous bridge, which is in our logo. So it really speaks to where we come from and the area that we work in. Uh, as a company, we do specialize in solar nowadays, and at our core, when we first started out, 16 years ago now, we're an electrical contractor. We were a small two, three person shop, working out of a van pickup truck, and quickly grew to, what today is a, still, large enough company, but still, small enough where we're a small business and we have um, that family mentality. But at a core, we are an electrical contractor. That's where it all started. And then, as everybody knows, solar picked up, and we jumped on the bandwagon. And here we are today. And the Scoop has really made our lives a lot easier over the past little over a year now that we've been using the platform.
Love that. Awesome, Mike. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us some great context of NEC and what you're doing. I'm going to end the screen share now and take the opportunity. I just want to have a bit of an informal conversation, ask some questions, get to know you, your role, and kind of your journey. So as we jump in, can you tell us a bit about your own journey with the company, right? How did you end up there? What do you see your role as being?
Definitely. So I've been with NEC for a little over 7 years now, which flew right by. I am a master electrician. I went to vocational high school and started learning trade there. Uh, Once I got out, went through my apprenticeship and got licensed. Kind of worked my way up the ladder, working for a local, electrical contractor, working houses, rewiring houses, additions, commercial jobs, and that led to solar. And quickly, fell in love with it. It's been a great addition to the industry, the electrical industry, and have grown quite a bit. I left that small business, came over here to NEC, and once again, started in the field working on roof side. I mean, I've pretty much done it all, working up on the roof, installing the panels, wiring the batteries. Had an opportunity to start taking on a management role and started managing projects, and now I manage the residential and small commercial solar department here. So um, it's been a very rewarding career thus far. I truly loved it, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, Mike, awesome. I think that's so cool. And what stands out for me is that very round base understanding and kind of, as you said, have done every role in the company. It shows as you and I have countless calls to work through your central operations hub and implement things. What always stands out for me is that what the guys on the ground are dealing with. The tasks that they do on a day-to-day basis, what their life is like. And it shows when you then sit down and think about efficiencies and operations. You're able to take that experience and sit down and make better processes going forward. So I think that's just so cool. And it shows in something which, we always try to work with at Scoop is not just, someone who's sitting behind a computer and able to, put in different workflows, but how do we get the people who, understand what that actual job is like on the ground into the room to provide that feedback? And so thank you again. Very cool. And so cool to see how that has transformed NEC. So my main question for you to start off with, what would you say makes NEC special? What would you consider like the key to your success?
So I think one major thing that I think sets us apart from a lot of other people in the solar space is that we are more than just a solar company. Like I mentioned, we have a commercial electrical side. So we have crews out there wiring retail space. We've done high rises, hotels, you name it. We also have our residential electrical side, so we're out there doing electrical service upgrades, wiring houses, and additions, kitchen remodels, all that stuff. And then we have our solar side. We're in-house doing residential and small scale commercial that we're managing and selling. We also are a subcontractor for some large scale commercial build outs as well. So we'll have crews out there wiring a kitchen, wiring a retail space, putting a 10 kW solar system on somebody's house, and have other crews out there working on a half a megawatt system. So we're all over the place, and being able to manage all that can be challenging. And having things in order, knowing where you're at, knowing where you guys are, uh, all your documents, everything that gets you through the management process uh, has been key. And Scoops helped us get to that point where we can stay organized and keep tabs on everything that's going on out there. But I think that makes us, special. Just the fact that we're very diverse in what we do, not limited to any one thing. I've always loved the challenge. That's one thing, through my background. Taking on the jobs that somebody else may have walked away from, type of thing, because it might be too hard, too technical to figure out. I absolutely love that, and I think that's what's helped NEC grow to where it is today.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I can't imagine trying to track and manage like all that diverse range of different types of projects that you may be doing at one time. So again, a testament to your ability to like operationalize the business to handle that. Um, what do you think it was that drove NEC to diversify that way and offer such a wide range of solutions?
Well, I guess it's never good to have all your eggs in one basket, if you will, right? It makes you limited to what you can do, and as the economy is always changing, and work in certain areas may be scarce, and other areas and other sectors might be strong. It's good to be able to kind of move things around. Everybody in here is in the solar industry. I'm sure you've all, rode the solar coaster, if you will, the highs and lows, And what's helped us out is, we want to, when we bring people in here, whether it's in the office, in the field, apprentices, electricians, admin, project managers, we want to keep people here for a long time. We want this to be a family run business, to have that family vibe, if you will. And being able to, when solar slows down or commercial slows down, be able to move people around and keep everyone busy and engaged has been key to having a really good culture here at NEC. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, really cool, which is not just kind of, getting excited about, one or two things that are working and trying to scale that infinitely, but, thinking long term of how to build a sustainable business. Really cool. As you work on these custom tailored installations and this very wide book of business, can you briefly speak to some of the challenges that have cropped up trying to operationalize that, right? Because you're not just trying to figure out, a playbook or an operation for a single type of job. You're trying to manage, by the sound of it, upwards of a dozen of these different types of tasks that you're doing. What were these challenges, and how did you think about approaching those?
Yeah, so directly on the solar side, obviously there's a lot more to the company, but at least on our side, what's helped us out is as we've grown is the organization, and also trying to reduce data entry and eliminating room for errors. As where we came from when we started doing the solar side of things was the age-old spreadsheets, Google Drive, a bunch of sticky notes all over the place, just trying to kind of get by with what you got. And quickly as you grow, you outgrow those
Hmm.
those tools. And you know, like I said, reducing the amount of times that you have to enter a customer's name, customer's address, all that redundant info, all across the board, whether it's from our sales side, our project managers, eliminating that or reducing it, I should say, was definitely, I think, the biggest initial reason to start looking at alternative options. And also just accountability with keeping track of what the rest of the team is doing. Making sure tasks are being closed out in a timely manner, making sure we're following up with customers, and just having a higher level view of what's actually going on. Um, and that's what really triggered the need for us to grow out of the antiquated spreadsheets and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Accountability is one of those things we hear time and time again of so difficult to operationalize, right? Beyond just a core group of individuals as you start to grow, building that culture. So very cool. Can you think of maybe a specific example or challenge that cropped up with individual teams as you kind of were going through this growth? And that may have spurned your decision to say like we need to go to market and find a tool to help us.
Yeah, I think there's many, and when you got to actually think of it, it's challenging, right? But the biggest challenge, you know, I'm not quite can't put my finger on any one thing. I said, the data entry stuff and just making sure we're able to manage the project efficiently from start to finish. When you have multiple jobs going on, it's easy when it's a few here and there, but
Yeah,
once you have hundreds of jobs being managed and thousands of clients out there that maybe we finish their install but they're calling back for service or something like that, being able to pull that information up quickly and get them an answer and respond as fast as possible, that was definitely the need to grow. uh,
yeah,
just being able to have access and put ourselves in one area where we can work, and not being, like I said, on a spreadsheet, on this file, this, email, being all over the place. It keeps people in one spot, keeps the data in one place, keeps things a lot more organized.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure everyone on the call can relate to spending 10 minutes searching a bunch of different systems for a piece of data that you need. So as you were encountering these challenges, and if you had any advice for others who are encountering these challenges, what do you think are the most important factors when it comes to evaluating tools, right? So as you went about your journey of saying, all right, we're starting to have some inefficiencies, we can't grow like this, we're spending way too much time duplicating data and trying to track something that should be easily tracked. We need to find a tool or build a tool maybe that does this. How did you go about that decision making? And any advice for people going down the same journey?
Definitely. So, there's a wide range of businesses out there. Speaking to us on the small business side, one thing that any small business owner or manager can relate to is you tend to wear a lot of hats. That's typically how it goes. And one of those things, as we were sourcing a platform to bring everybody into one home base, was just access to build and adjust. Um, Things constantly change. What I need on a project management platform today might not be what I need 2 weeks out, 6 months out, a year from now. And being able to quickly go in and make adjustments, small tweaks on the fly is key. Like I said, I'm an electrician. I've become pretty savvy with computers and technology through trial and error. But I'm not a software engineer. I'm not going to be one to go in and start writing code and all sorts of scripts. It's just not going to happen. So that was definitely one thing. Is just being able to go in. and find a tool that we can use that we have control over and that we can build as we build as a business. Um, and just accessibility, having something where our guys out in the field who, they don't have a laptop set up, they have cell phone, having access to plan sets and photos, uh, as well as having quick access to what we need here in the office.
Yeah. So hearing kind of this two part of being able to adjust it on the fly, not kind of getting stuck with building one thing and then not being able to make adjustments as your business changes and as you need to change it. And then secondly, that accessibility portion, right? That the guys in the field are able to do their job and use the tool and get just as much value as someone in the office. So obviously, throughout that journey, you chose Scoop to be part of it and part of the tech stack that you chose to build over there. What approach did you take when you sat down and started to onboard, Scoop as a central operations hub? Can you walk me through that transition, that journey, how long it took?
Yeah, so it definitely it took a while. It took several months to actually get it up and running. It's a blank canvas when you first come into it, trying to figure out exactly what you need. You have a bunch of ideas, and you know the process. One thing that I kind of did when we first started out was really just write down the overall process of how we manage projects here. Kind of putting myself in the shoes of a project manager here and what they're going to experience, the questions they're going to be asked, the documents that they're going to have to source and upload, and try to kind of put that on one sheet, if you will, and start breaking that out into sections. What what phase of the job it should these different tasks fall into, and where does this document come into play, and just started building it out from the bottom up, and as to how we're normally going to manage a process. My biggest thing, from having experience, whether it was in the field or managing these projects, is just trying to relate. I may be the one managing the department and working on this platform, but I have other people that have to use this on a daily basis, and I need to try to make it as simple and efficient for them. I can't necessarily do what makes sense to me in the moment, or potentially necessarily what makes sense as a business, but put myself in their shoes. What are they going to be experiencing, and how can I make it as straightforward as possible? So it was a lot of internal discussion over time. Asking questions, just getting feedback, and just getting information from the team, and just trying to make it as simple as possible, but not over engineering it.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a lot that you can do with Scoop. And once we got it live, it's never stopped with the adjusting. I think I would say probably daily I'm in there tweaking something, adding a field, removing a field. Uh, so it's been super valuable to be able to you know have that access to build it the way we want it, and just starting off with the basics, and not trying to uh, you know over engineer this product from the start, because we have a lot of ability to add on down the road.
Yeah, yeah. So to clarify, right? Like this multiple part journey of like seeing a need, getting the tool, like planning what this is going to be, the central operations hub, and how you think it should function, and your own knowledge and experience in these roles, but also allowing for a high degree of flexibility, right? And you mentioned like bringing them into the room, going to these leaders and saying like, is this what's going to work for you? And then I think what's always really important is that continuous journey. As you go, as you have your day-to-day work and you're getting that feedback and seeing little opportunities like tightening the bolts, tuning the machine. So that's kind of, I think, where we see a lot of our customers who succeed going down that same road. So really cool to see. As you've done this, as you've been using Scoop for over a year now. Um, as you've streamlined these operations, what's the biggest impact you've noticed with the rest of your teams, right? And your day-to-day performance.
So I think the biggest thing was just being able to provide more information and updates to the whole team. You know, previously when we didn't have Scoop, it was just all through emails and just, you know, texting and phone calls. And, what we found was there was, two people on the team might be having a conversation about an issue, but it's not being relayed over to the other side that can assist in the situation. Um, Bringing everything back in to one spot, um, and just trying to improve on the communications between people, um, was very important to the growth of this.
Yeah.
Um,
So cool. Yeah. Awesome. I love that. I love just hearing, that like, at the end of the day, users are getting the information they need. They're not relying on email and a bunch of different tools to update each other where, you as well as the head of operations don't have visibility into all of those tools and all of those accounts. Um, I think we're all really looking forward to seeing your account, how you've built it out, and some of the tips that you have for others going down the same road. Um, as we start this, as we switch over to the demo portion, and I'm going to let you drive the car and show us around your account. Um, I wanted to very quickly open up this guy, which is I'm sure, Mike, you've seen this multiple times. A lot of our customers recognize this diagram because it's vitally important, and we always just want to make sure we're speaking the same language and referencing the same thing. So this is the Scoop architecture for those that are new. And Mike and I will constantly refer to some of the terms on here. At the base, you have what we call scoops, and these are those individual work orders or those bespoke views that I mentioned earlier as part of this central operations hub, where users are getting the information they need presented to them, finish their task, upload the work, and pass on. And these all make up, and you kind of line up these scoops to be part of a bigger project. And so the example we have on here is a residential installation that goes from a site survey to a design to permitting to install and job closeout. Now, those projects as a whole as well contain this wealth of automation and knowledge, where as things are passed on, I'm excited for Mike to show us some of this too, right? Tasks are created, notifications are sent out to the right people so that everyone's informed and up to date on what's happening. And projects themselves don't just happen. They occur at a physical job site, which is the top of my diagram here. A physical address that itself has characteristics, and some of these are permanent, like the address that doesn't change over time. While some of them do change as the project progresses and as your team are impacting the job site. There's more information added because you'll go and do multiple projects and go back and need to retrieve information. So you'll hear us use these terms: client sites for the physical addresses, projects for an individual project that's run, and then scoops, which are these workflows and bespoke views that each user has. Finally, massively important, as we move around the system, there's two different views that Mike and I will kind of be two different lenses that we're approaching the system. There's the execution mode. This is the desktop and the mobile app where a user is coming in, opening up the scoop and the project they're working on, inputting the information, getting the information they need, moving it through the workflow. And there's the configuration mode. And Mike is a master at switching between these very seamlessly and very quickly. So we'll always try to point out as we're going through, like, hey, we've switched over to the configuration side. This is where the implementation lead, like Mike, can come in and make those changes. So as he sees something, as he's going through his day-to-day work and notices something that could be changed and maybe can be, a bit more efficient, he'll switch over to the configuration view, make those adjustments, and then move back to execution mode. So really wanted to set the stage, make sure we're all speaking the same language here as I stop my own screen share and hand things over to Mike.
Awesome. Sign back here. Oh, man. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, here we are. This is our project board layout page, which I spend probably the majority of my time in here, just viewing all of our projects. Uh, like Remington and I spoke about, being diverse, working on all sorts of types of projects. Um, we have, I don't even know how many, hundreds of fields built into Scoop that pertain to many different scenarios. Some fields might pertain to solar only projects, some may pertain to battery projects, um, possibly even commercial. Uh, and like I had mentioned, trying to make this as simple for our team members as possible was a huge part of this build out. And obviously, if you're going through filling out all these project fields, um, you're you're not going to have to necessarily fill in every single piece of information. So what's been very helpful with the build out is being able to hide certain fields based on conditions. Um, we can, as we bring a job into Scoop, based on the type of project that it is, or the type of incentive, or potentially the type of financing, we can have, maybe if we have 200 fields total, condense that down to 100 that only pertain to that specific project. So that way, whoever's managing the job can get through all of these different apps as efficiently as possible. Um, and like I said, on this project page here, this just kind of gives me a high level overview of all the projects. I'm able to switch between our different managers and filter that data down. So that way I don't have to look at maybe, 200 or X amount of jobs on one page. I can really, uh, taper that down and look at smaller overview of a certain project manager or certain sales rep, and get to
Yeah.
the information a little bit faster that way.
So a couple really interesting things as we're going through here is the fact that you're not only using the central operations hub to create the bespoke views based on the user and their role, like a site surveyor only seeing things pertinent to them, but you're also using this combination of conditional display rules that, depending on the requirements and the type of job that you're doing, is again hiding a lot of noise that maybe that user doesn't need, right? So as an example, like if there's a battery involved in the project, giving them access to a bunch of fields that they need to fill out. But if there's no battery, hiding those and not scrolling through and trying to make a decision themselves on the ground of, do I need to fill this out or not? Um, the second thing that I picked up on here is your amazing use of filters where, you're running, hundreds of projects at one time across the whole cycle and service visits and whatnot. And you're using these filters yourself as a manager to drive insight and find a certain type of project or a certain group or cohort of projects that you want to take a look at one time. Is that a good way of explaining kind of how you're using that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no shortage of how you can filter the data down. I typically try to, at least for this main overview, look at it as each manager has a specific filter. Um, you know, the beauty is you can filter that down by project type, uh, incentive type, you name it. You can really break this down and dissect that data and organize it to however you want to view it. For me, I try to kind of group things by the manager. That's
Got
typically
it.
how I really go through and at a high level, see how the projects are progressing, go in and check on information, make sure things are moving along. And I can do the same thing with same type of filter, not only in here, but with tasks and comments and other areas within the scoop as well. So it keeps even for myself more efficient to be able to move through whatever I'm looking for in a similar manner through those filters.
Yeah, yeah, so cool. So I mean that's a great transition. You mentioned tasks. I know that this is something that you are an absolute master of building these automations, right? And when we talked about NEC's ability to deliver a diverse range of projects, you mentioned that a part of this was the ability to like customize these tasks so that no matter what the project was, everyone was getting informed what they needed to do specifically for that type of project based on tasks. Can you share a bit about those auto tasks and notifications that you've created in the system?
Definitely, and also, kind of that goes back to the initial build out too of that, high level list of figuring out what we do on a daily basis throughout the project life cycle and developing those tasks along the way. We were able to, I don't like to overdo it with the tasks. It can definitely be exhausting to go through and click off 100 different tasks, daily. We've definitely scaled it back and tried to keep the tasks to major milestones and major events that require just a little bit more attention. And a lot of these are auto generated, which is great. The biggest thing was with trying to save time for what team members and myself, and really make us more efficient as a business, is trying to automate as much stuff as possible. So we're not constantly having to go in and type different tasks and, hey, I need you to get this done by the end of the day. This is all running behind the scenes for the most part. And when we, reach certain milestones or hit certain timelines, Scoop will automatically send a task out to a defined user or defined role, and I can have certain, timelines and deadlines set on that. And like I said, through those filters, and this is even for myself, so I can hold myself accountable to make sure I can get things done for the rest of the team. Filter those down and be able to go through these tasks and other, team members' tasks on a daily basis, and help, just really create a checklist through the project. So that way, there's a lower chance that something gets forgotten about throughout the whole project.
Yeah. So you're using these to like push projects forward, not only to make sure people know what they need to work on, but I hear this great accountability aspect where you're like, I can go and see the tasks that are currently sitting on team members that maybe are holding up a project and follow up to ensure those are all getting complete. And they should always know based on these automations exactly what's required for each project.
Definitely, yeah, it helps. The accountability is a huge factor. Um, it really helps drive the process forward, and just, I mean, we're human. People forget things. We have a million things on our plate, and being able to just have one place that we can go into and just check those boxes off to make sure that we're all getting things done is really helpful. And using it as a reminder too, when, like I said, with all these automations, we have another one. You spoke about Glue, which is been a great feature. We currently use DocuSign as a Glue integration.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people do too, and we send off all of our documents, whether it's utility applications, incentives, you name it, all through DocuSign. Um, we're able to trigger that through a simple workflow. So as I switch screens here, I brought myself into one of the Scoop apps. We have
So
one.
yeah, so like this is the view of your permitting team when they're working on a project. You're in a permitting scoop.
Correct. Yeah. So essentially, we would click into that particular app, and it would bring us into this page here where all of the utility and permitting documents and fields all live. Some of these are global fields, which carry over from the client site level. So, if we have multiple projects for one client, a lot of this information will just repeat itself. Um, but as we get through the project lifecycle and get to that utility section, all we have to do is click a workflow here, For instance, send DocuSign through Scoop, pretty simple. If I click that, that's gonna send off that DocuSign request. It's gonna take all these fields from Scoop that we've inputted, put it right into a templated DocuSign form. Once it's signed by the client, it's gonna move the workflow um, in Scoop and essentially alert the team member that that document has come back into DocuSign. It's going to set a task that they have to go in and download that and upload it to the location that that needs to go to.
Like I can't think of a better example of, what we've spent a lot of time talking about, right? Like this utility rep is able to come in, or sorry, the permitting lead on your side is able to come in, get the information they need to do their job. They're not seeing a lot of noise. They're seeing exactly what they need. They put their work in and then hit a button for a workflow to say, I've done my part. And that's where you've stepped in and designed and built this really cool system that is now connecting over to DocuSign through a Glue integration, kicking off a contract, and now you're not even having to watch DocuSign by the sound of it. You're not checking those emails because when they're signed, it's actually triggering the workflow over to the next stage, which in turn kicks off all the next level of automations, the tasks, and the notifications. I think such a cool example, and really cool for more people to see of like that bit of work you put in at the beginning to automate just streamlines and reduces so much repetitive work on your team side. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, if filling out that document is normally a 5 to 10 minute task, and that's 5 to 10 minutes that somebody else can be working on something else, making a phone call or meeting with a client, it just makes the team that much more efficient.
Love it. As we kind of wrap up this demo portion, I know you're a user of Looksee, the analytics dashboard. Do you mind showing us a little bit? I know when we talked before, you were working to kind of like hide some information that's vital to your business. This is like, your secret sauce. So I could see here you've put together a little bit of a demo for us where you've hidden vital information to your business, but still able to show how you use this to bring value.
Yes, definitely. And it's funny being on the call here. We can talk about this for hours. So definitely, this is one feature that I've really you know have loved through the Scoop journey here. So for me, with all these fields, being able to bring all this data in, and kind of break it all down and put it into different viewpoints has been awesome. So for me, in any business owner, what you're trying to do is, I'm sure a lot of people do job tracking, and this is something I've been working on a lot lately. Trying to take all these different metrics and fields that we're importing, material costs, labor costs, all that stuff, and breaking it down and figuring out, what was our profit margin, what was our true cost on this, so that way, you can start to see how the business is growing. Obviously there's other ways to do this on the finance side, but being able to, at a quick glance, if you were just kind of look at these metrics and see how these projects are doing, and having all this running behind the scenes and not having to type it into a spreadsheet, it really is helpful. So yeah, this was something that I was able to build out pretty easily within Looksee, and added some other metrics in here as well. Just the bar graph to show different average profit margins and labor costs and stuff like that. Just to be able to at a high level see how the department is doing, and even on the sales side as well. Being able to build out all these different dashboards, to look at your sales metrics for sales reps. This nice little cluster map here of where all your installations are, being able to click into each one if you want to get information. But there's a lot you can do with Looksee, and I've only scratched the surface of it. It's definitely a very powerful tool that helps make everything linked together.
Yeah. So cool, and just love again this idea that you're taking this operations hub where we're grabbing information from a lot of different tools, and your users are generating it through their day-to-day work, and you as this leader in the business are then able to shift over to a bit more of like a high level analytics insight view to say, how are we driving our business? Where's our money coming from? Where are our opportunities? So cool, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we've got a couple minutes left here. Start to do a closeout and see if we can grab a couple minutes for questions.
All
So maybe
right.
if you let me jump over, Mike, just to quickly summarize a little bit, we've kind of been putting this together behind the scenes as you've been sharing as well. This idea that like the disconnects between systems and teams really hurt your ability to scale. Pulling all of this into a central operations hub that like you can adjust as you go was very helpful for NEC and allowed, I think, really pivotal your strategy of diversifying and grabbing a wide range of projects to hold your position in the market and grow was also a big part of being able to grab and utilize a tool that allows that level of configuration. So absolutely awesome, Mike. Thank you so much for the show and tell as well. Lucy, do we have time for a couple questions?
Yes, I think we can squeeze a couple in here. So if anyone has them, feel free to put them in the chat. We have a couple here already. So yeah, the first one here is how Mike, do you manage multiple milestones within the same scoop? So if there's like multiple phases that you have for a project, how do you manage that?
So the workflows are probably the biggest use for that for updates. You'll have like for instance, I showed you the utility permitting app. We're hitting two major milestones right there. We're getting utility approval and we're getting permitting approval from the local AHA. And moving those workflows through each different app allows us to update other team members through auto emails, comments, and tasks like we can talk about, and just get a visual aid as to those milestones and what we're hitting in time that it's taking to do those.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike. I know you also use the conditional rules on workflows as well, where you're able to say, based on, the type of job or the characteristics of this certain project, workflows should act in different ways, right? Give tasks to different people, notifications to different people. So using those workflows, not just as like a set, every project is the same, but as projects are different, you're able to adjust automatically.
Correct. Yeah. We're able to filter that down and kind of hide certain things that don't pertain to the particular project that needs.
So cool.
Thank you. We may have touched on this a little bit in the demo side, but we'll still get to this question. So are you managing like we're talking about all these diverse projects, are you managing everything like residential, commercial, all of that through Scoop right now? Or is it primarily certain aspects of the business?
So we're right now, and the great thing about Scoop and the biggest reason why we brought it on is the ability to scale it up and bring other ends of the company into it. Currently, we just use Scoop for our solar department, which is for residential solar and our small scale commercial solar and energy storage. So our team of we have 3 to 4 project managers, myself, and usually we run about 2 to 3 crews on average, and everybody within that department has access to Scoop, and that's what we're primarily using it for. But we have every intention of bringing other ends of the company into it as time goes on.
Terrific. Thank you. I think we're at time here. So I just want to pass it back to Remy for maybe some closing remarks, but also just a big thank you from myself, both Remy for co-hosting and Mike as well for all the insights today and for everyone joining.
Thanks, Lucy. Yeah, Mike, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day to come on and share. It really speaks to the community around renewables, passionate people trying to learn and improve this industry, and your position as a leader on the operations side. So for everyone who joined us, please, silently behind your computers, give Mike a big round of applause. I hope this was helpful and interesting to everyone. We would love to keep doing these, so please share your feedback so we can cater these to what you want to see. If you're a customer and saw something that you're interested in trying to implement yourselves, please reach out. We're happy to help. It's what we're here for. And if you're new to Scoop and think that this is, part of the journey that you need to go on to get a central operations hub as well, we're here. Would love to talk to you about it. So, Mike, thank you so much. I cannot express my gratitude enough for you taking the time.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. You guys have been a huge help to our continued growth and success here. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you, Lucy, for organizing, and thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.